Okay, after installing Matplotlib, then you can write programs that use Matplotlib. In order to do that, you just have to import Matplotlib to your program. So let's go here in our first program. We have Matplotlib.pyplot as PLT because instead of writing Matplotlib.pyplot blah 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 long those long package names, we will just use PLT. Here you see that plt.plot, plt.show, etc. will be used. And also we will be importing NumPy arrays. And then we will build, let me go and check from here. I had another one, which was, I will start with the most simple one. Oh, that's one, yeah, okay. So after importing matplotlib.pyplot as PLT and NumPy array as NP, then you build two arrays, one for the X points and one for the Y points. What do I mean? Let me run first this, and then I will explain on the plot. Here it is. Here, my plot for this first example, my plot starts from draws a line from point x0, y0. So this is the x points 0 and 0. The first, I built two arrays, which contains, one array contains the x points. 0 and 0 is my x point and y point, and 6 and 250 is the second point. So here, I have x is equal to 6 and y is equal to 250. This is the top point here. So I want to draw a line from 0, 0 to 6 and 250. Okay, so what I do, I built one array, NP array, which contains the x points, which is 0 and 6. And the other one contains the y points. The second array contains the y points, which is 0 and 250. Okay. Let's change this to some other values. Let's say, assume that instead of 0 and 250, I want to have, for example, 4 and 7. Sorry, my x points are 4 and 7, 4, 7. And assume that my y points are, for example, 10 and 5. Okay. So my plot will go from xy point 4 and 10 to 7 and 5. Okay. First point is 4 and 10. X value is 4, y value is 10. And the second point is x value is 7 and y value is 5. Let's run this. Here is my line. 4 and 10 is my start point, and 7 and 5 is my end point. Okay, so you specify the x values and y values, and you plot. Here I just have two values, two points. 4 and 10 is first point, and 7 and 5 is the second point. We can have multiple points. After specifying the x points and y points, what I use the pl.plot method. Okay, the plot method is used to draw the line, and we give as parameters two NumPy arrays. The first NumPy array is x points, and the second NumPy array is y points. So I get this. So let's go to our lecture notes. Here I have 0 and 0, and 6 and 250 are my points. The x points are 0 and 6, and the y points are 0 and 250. From 0, 0 to 6 and 250, we draw a line. Here there is another example. Of course, the points may have float values. My x and x1 and y1 is 24.8 and 60 is my first point, and my second point x2 and y2 is 142.4. What I do, I built a NumPy array which contains the x point, x1 and y1 is the x points, and y1 and y2 are y points. So from x1 to y1 to x2 to y2, it will draw a line. It is the same thing with this one, but here I use just some float values, okay? This is how we do. We put x values in a x points, the x values in an array, and the y values in an array, and then by using the x values and y values, we plot. Here we have only two values, okay? Start value and end value. What if we have more than two? If we have several values, not only the start point and end point, but if I have, for example, 1 and 3 is my first value point, 2 and 8 is my second point, 6 and 1 is my third point, and 8 and 10 is my last point. So what I built again a NumPy array which contains only the x values of the points and y values of the points, okay? So by using the x points and y points, I use again the plot function to make the plot, and the show method displays on screen, okay? So I have, this is again in my, here, which one it was. Let's go and open the third one. Plot multiple points. It is this one. 1, 3, 2, 8, 6, 1, and 8, 10 are the points. So from those x and y values of the points, I separate the x values in one array and y values in the second array. And by using these, I just draw a plot. Here is the plot. 1 and 3. Okay, the first one, 1 and 3 is here. And then 2 and 8, just look vertically, okay? And then 6 and 1 is this point. And then 8 and 10 is this point. So we can plot, we can create a plot using x and y points. The key is that we put the x values in one array and the y values in the second array. Of course, they have to be the same number of elements, okay? If I have 5 elements in one and 6 elements in the other, it will not work. I will get an error. They have to have the same number of elements. Of course, instead of using this something like this, let's copy this one. And let's go here. I will just. Okay. Assume that my x points are just linear. 1, 2, 3, 4, for example. Okay. I can write here, of course, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I can do it like this. Or then 1, 2, 3, 4, I have my points. Or I can just use here a range. As you know, in our range, I can say 1, 5, which will generate values from 1 to 4. Okay. So I can use our range here. If the values are just linear, then 1, 2, 3, like 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. I can do something like that. Okay. Or instead of 1 to 4, it can be, for example, 11 to 14. Okay. Then in my plot, I will have those values. 11, 12, 13, and 14 are my x points. The x values of the points. I have 4 points, 11 and 3, 12 and 8, 13 and 1, and 14 and 10. Okay, just look vertically. For 11, the y value is 3. For 12, the y value is 8. For 13, the y value is 1, and for 14, the y value is 10. So I have this plot. Now, let's continue with more. Assume that my points are not 11, 12, 13, 14, but start from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, okay? So what I can do, I can omit the x points. If I omit x points here, let's comment this out. Okay. I only have y points, but my default x points is 0, 1, 2, 3, okay? If you just put here only the y points, let's run this, then the default x points are starts from 0. We see here 0, 1, 2, 3. It goes linearly starting from 0. So this is the default x points. Okay, you can plot a chart using only the y points. In that case, the default values of x are 1, 0. Start from 0. It goes 0, 1, 2, 3 like that. So here the default. Where did I this row multiple points? If you don't use the x points, the default values are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Now, up to now, we have just drawn a plot by using some x and y points. Okay. Now let's see how we can put some titles and labels for the x and y axis. Let's take this. Let's go here. I want to change this slightly. What I will be doing, let's again put our x points and put here x points. Let's insert here. I want to have, for example, some labels on my plot. I can have a title. I can have an X label and Y label. Okay, let's run this. Okay. So on the 11th of, for example, May, or in 11th of April, we have traveled, we walked 3 kilometers. Assume that on 12th April, we walked 8 kilometers. On 13th April, we walked 1 kilometer, and on 14th April, we walked 10 kilometers. So here I can say travel statistics. These are the days, okay, and these are the kilometers that we covered. So we can have labels for the plot itself, and it is the title method is used to give a name to our plot, and for by using the X label and Y label methods, we can put labels for X-axis and Y-axis. Okay, it is just in the middle. The X-axis label is in the middle of the X-axis, and the Y label is put vertically in the middle of the Y-axis. If you just take the middle of this whole plot here, and then it will just put the Y label vertically from bottom to top, just next to the Y-axis. So we can put title, X label, and Y labels to our plots. So let's go here. Next, we can here we just have we have some points, but we didn't specify any symbol just for the point X and Y points. Okay, here my first point is 11 and 3, then 12 and 8, 13 and 1, and 14 and 10. But I don't have any symbol printed here. What I can do, I can put here some markers. These are called markers. For example, if I want to put a black dot, a black circle, I will be using O, lowercase o. Or if I want to put an X, then I will be using X. But how do I do it? I just use a marker parameter in the plot. Let's go and change this slightly, okay, in our program. Oops, sorry. Here, assume that I want to put some markers. Marker equal, I will just put O, okay, and run this again. Now, on the X and Y points in the points of my graph, I have this black circle, okay. If I just put here, for example, X, it will be changed to some X sign. Okay. There are several of them, and in my lecture notes you can see those. Of course, the most frequently used ones are O, asterisk, X, etc. Let's try one or two of them. I don't know what is one. If I just put here marker is equal to 1, I wonder what will happen. I haven't tried all the markers. It just put some symbols, I don't know what. Anyway, let's go back to, for example, asterisk. Let's run this again with asterisk and see what will happen. Okay, I have some. Okay, there's a star. When you use asterisk, it puts a star to the points. Now, we can also change the line from one point to the next. How can we do that? Let's go to our thing. Here we have line references. Okay, here is our markers. Markers are O, asterisk, X, capital X, plus, etc. We can also specify the line type. Here, just that this is just a solid line. Instead of a solid line, which is the default is the default is the solid line, which is the minus sign. I can have dotted line, which is colon. Dashed line is 2 minus, and dashed and dot line is minus and dot. Let's change our program. Here, with this after the marker, I can put, for example, colon. Okay. Let's see what will happen. Oh, sorry. The order is important. I will just close this. Probably this will work. Come on, what is wrong? There is a certain, if you just use it, you have to, color. You can also give a color to the thing. Oh, first we have to use the marker and then the line type. So sorry, my mistake. I have to use, for example, asterisk first and this, and let's plot it in red, R for red. Okay. It's not marker, sorry. Marker is just for marker. I just give here, no, okay, just this. It will be better. Yeah, here it is. I have stars at the points. The lines are just dots, and the color of the plot is red. Or if I have, for example, here slash, and sorry, minus, then instead of red, let's make it B for blue. Then you can just change the line type to just dashed line, and the color is blue, and we again have a star symbol at the points. So by using the line reference, the color, and the markers, then you can build your nice graphics. The order is that I think the order is the order important. I will check if I just put this asterisk after B. I wonder if it will work or not. Yeah, the order is not important. You can put the line type first, then color, and then marker, etc. So there are three things: marker, which is just the which is put in the points, X and Y points. And between X and Y points, you have line type, and of course you have the color of the line. Okay. So you can, by using a third parameter after the X points and Y points, a third parameter, you can specify the color, the line type, and the marker of your plots. Now I have, let's say, another Y points. This is Y points, and let's put here Y points 2. Now I have not 3, 8, blah, blah. I have some other values, 4, 7, 6, 2. And I want to plot this one as well. Y points 2. This time this was asterisk / blue. And now this time I want to have, for example, O4. Circle. Instead of blue, I want to plot this in red. And instead of dashed lines, I want to have dotted lines. O for circle, R for red, and colon for dashed line. So for dotted line. If I do this, now I will have two plots on my screen. Okay. So you can plot two lines on the same plot. You just have to specify something like that. Okay. Of course, the X points may be common. Here I will use the common X points, but the X points can also be different. Let's put another, let's copy the X points here. X points 2. This time it is not 11 and to 15, but let's say 10. That I have to have 4 points, 10 to 18 by 2. So 10, 12, 14, 16. Okay. Of course, I have to change this. Sorry, I forget to change this to X points 2. So my plot can have two different lines with two different sets of X and Y points, or common X points, as in the previous example. Let's go here. Here is my plot. The X plot is the red one is going like that. The blue one is going like that. There are some common X values on 12 and 14, but one plot has X value 10, the other one has X value 11, which is not common at all, but I can plot two different lines on the same plot. Okay. Let's go and continue with other things. So here in my program, I can say FMT equal. This is the format. Okay. FMT, but if you just omit FMT, it will work as well. Let's run this again. We will see that it will. Come on, what is wrong with this? Okay, format about FMT. I don't know why it doesn't work. You just specify after X points and Y points, you specify what is the marker, what is the line type, and what is the color. Okay, three things are specified here: the marker, the line type, and the color of the plot. You can have, if you have different plots on the same chart, on the same plot, different lines on the same plot, then you can give different markers, different line types, or even common line types. It doesn't matter. Assume that I have dashed lines for both, then but the colors are different and the markers are different in this example. So you can have this type of plots on your in your. You can write this, and you can put two or more lines on the same plot. I can have a third line as well if I wish. I just need to duplicate this, for example. Okay, you can put x points 3 and y points 3, and you can specify similar to this two other arrays. Okay, two other NumPy arrays, and then you can have 2, 3, 4, 5, and any number of lines plotted on your in your plot. Okay, there may be not. It's not limited to 2 lines. You can have multiple lines in the same plot. Grid. What is grid? I didn't have grid. I forgot to put the grid here. Anyway, I will show it to you here. Here it is. I have here the same common x values, but 3 different lines. If you just use the grid method, on your plot, you will have grid lines. Okay, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.54. Although I don't have any value, any x value with 1.5. If you have small number of x points, it just puts some the default of the here 4 points are too low. Let's put here some more points, not 1 to 5, but 1 to 7. I'll put some extra values, 1 to 6. So let's put here 2 and 4, 9, 8, 8 points, 4, 5, let's say 7, 8. Okay. If there are enough number of x points, it doesn't put any intermediate values. Okay. If there are too few number of x points or y points, it puts some intermediate values. But if there are enough number of x values, it doesn't do that. Here it is. That's better. Okay. So here there are 6 points, 6 x points, and there are several y points. We have used the common x points. Okay, I have x1 array, NumPy array from 1 to 6, containing values from 1 to 6, and my y values are for the first line is in one array, for the second line is in second array, in the third array, and the y points of the third line is in the third array. And here I'm using the common x1 array with y array. Y1 is the first, is the y points, y values of the first line. Y2 contains y values of the second line, and y3 contains the y values of the third line, and they are displayed as blue, B for blue, G for green, R for red, and the first one is displayed with dashed line. The second one is displayed with dashed and dotted line, and the third one is with just dotted lines, and circle, star, and X for the markers. Okay. And grid is just to draw the grid lines. Of course, here I have my title. I don't have any x axis and y axis. Let's put some X and Y axes. X label, let's say X label as just some string. Let's say what can be whatever, blah, blah, blah. And Y label, let's put some Y label. Let's say values, whatever. Okay. If I run this, now I will have my X label and Y label and greet, blah, 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 some values, and my lines are nicely printed. Any questions so far? There is another way of plotting these. You can put in one plot the X and Y values of the first line and X and Y values of the second line. So what I will do, I will change this slightly, but in that case, you don't have that luxury, okay? You cannot specify different markers, line types, and colors. If you have only one single line type for all and marker, etc. for all, you can plot in one by using only one plot method call. You can plot all of them. Let me copy this. Let me go to another program. Let's go to this one. Let's copy this. I can do something like this. Let's erase all of this and all of that. And let's move this out. Now, I can do something like this. Of course, the other one is better because you can specify for every line, marker, line type, and the color. But here, you can just plot all of them on one thing. It just gives some different colors itself, okay? It has some default values. So here, 3, what is 3? This is the blue one is the first one. 7.1 is the second one. So the first one is drawn as blue. The second one is drawn as some orange, and the third one is green. Okay. So you can have this chance, but of course, this is preferable. Okay. Let's go here. Let's. Uh-oh, we went too much. Let's copy this. I want to keep that here. Okay. So this is better compared to just having all on one. But it is possible. Plotting a function. This is nice. Shall I stop here? Yeah, I will stop and I will explain this later on. And on Wednesday, here you see that I am plotting a sine function. And I will explain this to you on Wednesday. Any questions related with the things that I have explained so far about plotting lines or just drawing a single line with the start value and end value, or plotting multiple values, multiple X and Y point values, plotting more than one line on the same plot? Any question about these subjects?